What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jay. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. Today we have Nelson. He's a senior accountant. We'll sit down with him and see what he's got for us. What's going on, guys? Please join me in welcoming Nelson here. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Why don't we start with your quick background? Tell us about your, where you're into school. Where did you grow up? Things like that.
Okay. Well, I'm from Vineland, New Jersey. About 45 minutes from here. Went to Vineland High School. After high school, I went right into the work. Well, no, I went to the military. I did 4 years National Guard.
Okay.
But as soon as I came back, I went right into the workforce. I pretty much have had every possible dead-end job you could think of. When I was about 30, that's when I decided to go back to school. I researched what I wanted to do, so I came down to accounting.
Okay.
I figured that
you wanted to do accounting.
Well, I never really liked it, and I never really liked math in high school.
Okay. I'm on the same boat. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So the thing about accounting that I found out that was very, very awesome was that I could take accounting.
Okay.
I could take that skill and apply it to any company, anywhere. So, you could work for a hospital, you could work for a manufacturing plant, you could work for a publishing company. It doesn't matter where it's located. As long as it's a business, they need an accounting. They need somebody to do their books.
Right.
So, it took me about 5 years to do my undergrad. So after I graduated, and I went to a small accounting firm called Preziosi Nicholson. Very small. It was probably about 10 people. It was quite difficult for me to find something because I couldn't intern when I was working at US Silica. So I had no experience, right?
Wow.
I had the education, no experience. So I happened to bump into somebody who had just left, and she was the one that referred me to Preziosi Nicholson. So I started working there, worked for about 2 years. From there, I went to Harbor Linen. After that, I found Aon Management. Now, Aon Management is an asset management company. Basically, that place was where I've learned the most.
Okay.
I've definitely, upped my accounting skills there. The thing with accounting, you could be working here and go to 10 different places, but they're going to have to show you their way. You'll learn the basic, and anybody could do debits and credits in a bank rec, fine, but they're going to teach you their way. So I worked there. It would have been 3 years this September.
Okay.
On May 17th, I started working with a company called Wolters Kluwer. Wolters Kluwer is a publishing company based out of the Netherlands. They happen to have their corporate office in Philadelphia. I got in with them. I got the position I was looking for, so I finally made it to a senior accountant. Totally awesome, because Wolters Kluwer now is sitting on my resume, and this company is going to be able to like that stepping stone is I don't know. It's going to be awesome with it.
So all right, that sounds great. Why don't we talk about your current job title? What is that exactly?
So it's a senior accountant. In different organizations, it can mean different things.
Correct, yeah.
Smaller the company, I could be called a senior accountant and have more of a controller type of job description.
Right.
In this company, I work on a team. We do the product costing and the project accounting.
If you don't mind, what is the starting salary for a senior accountant in a big organization like this?
About 80,000.
Okay,
definitely
gotcha.
Negotiate because it depending on level of experience, depending if you have certifications.
Right.
It can be 80,000. It could go as high as 120,000.
Gotcha. So I'm glad you brought the certification situation, because did you need certification to get this job, or?
You don't need certification, but being an accountant, it's definitely beneficial. So,
Got you.
So
So you already talked about your career path and how you got into this field from your past experiences, and you kind of wanted to get into accounting because you felt that essentially that you can plug and play anywhere and it'll be good. So now, what does your day-to-day look like specifically? I mean, you can talk about your last job because I think you have more experience there, or you can talk about this one and how it maybe, or you can differ. How does it differ on both experiences? If you want to start with your last job, since you have more experience there,
sure,
we can start there and then kind of talk about this, and we can like compare and contrast.
Okay. The last job, that was with accounting, it's pretty routine. We have a process we have to do every month. We have to produce the financials. So as soon as the financials are set or sent out, which would be the 16th of the month, on the 17th, I start prepping for the next month. So each property that I oversaw, they had work papers, we call them. It's basically a Excel spreadsheet with like 60 tabs, and each tab represents each tab represents an account number. And there's specific ones that we would focus on, but they would be revenue accounts, liability accounts, accrual accounts. Pretty much, there's 60 tabs, but we only paid attention to like maybe 12 of them. So I got to make sure that each invoice, each expense is categorized in the right category, so that when you look at the income statement, it's not skewed in any way.
Right.
It's like, why are we paying, or how come we didn't pay? We budgeted $5,000 for elevator maintenance, but there's only $10 in there. And why is maintenance have $5,000? And just making sure that basically accounting is just categorizing and making sure that when you print out the report, it makes sense.
Okay, but compared to that, what are you doing now? I know you said you're doing like a little snippet of a ton of different, a lot more essentially.
So the company that I came from was maybe about 150 million a year company.
Okay.
And the company I jumped into is a $4.9 billion a year company.
Okay.
So what I do now, or what have they been teaching me? AP is there's a lot of AP requests. So there's tons of books that the company's printing every month, and so I set up product codes. So, I never really gave much thought to the ISBN number in the back of a book, that long digit number.
Yep.
I do now. So, there's like all these reports that come in, and then, every month a report comes out, and then the company that handles the AP, they send an email, say, hey, this product code is not being accepted into the software, and we use Microsoft for the software, and then I help set that up. I help set up product codes for reprints, anything. I guess they don't have the same number. If it's printed this year, then next year it's going to end in 02, and then the third year 03, and so on. I set that up, and then there's a lot of journal entries that I help process, but I don't create them. So the finance team, they'll have all the backup, and then they'll put together the journal entry, or pretty much, hey, with a larger company, there's a lot more control.
Right.
Tons and tons and tons of control. So not one person does the whole process. It'll never happen.
Yeah, right. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so the finance team puts together the journal entry. We process the journal entry, and then what I do is I enter it into the software, and then once, and this is another thing, they're transitioning to SAP because we use Microsoft, and Microsoft is very finicky. So we had to upload an Excel file, but it has to be very specific. I'm talking about no commas. It has to be in like number format. Certain columns have to be in text format, and if you get any of one of those things wrong, it won't accept. And you can email your boss and say the journal entry's there, but it's like it's not there. So I post the journal entry, and then Once it's posted, I send an email to make sure that my batch number, to show the batch number, screenshot that, send the file, send it to my boss, and then she posts it.
Gotcha.
I will be going through my first close with this company on Tuesday.
Okay.
And they say it's going to be,
Are you nervous?
Very nervous.
Okay.
Very nervous. I know I'm going to get it. It's just going to take time.
So I think, you kind of described your day-to-day in pretty detail, which is awesome. So in your opinion, what is the most enjoyable part about your job?
Well, I mean, right now the enjoyable part is just learning the job and, I work for this really awesome company that really backs me up 110%, and I've never really felt that before. You know what I mean? Like I worked for, I worked for companies that really didn't respect you. You know what I mean? Like they just talk to you like however. I worked with companies that, they say they do tuition reimbursement, but they don't do none of that. You know, but this company right here is like, just working for them is enjoyable.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I have a good feeling about this place.
That's good. I guess you kind of in term talked about the negatives of it. So what is the least enjoyable part in your opinion?
The workload.
Okay.
The workload is, right now, they hired me. We're still short a senior accountant. So everybody has a lot on their plate, and so it's even that much more because we're short on people. And where I just came on, they can't offload any of that stuff. So I know that once the other senior accountant gets brought on, it's going to smooth out. Things are going to get better, and things are going to be all right.
That's good. That's good to hear. In your opinion, any surprises in this career that you didn't really expect?
I think the one surprise I would say is that when I graduated with the accounting degree, I was like, oh, this is all I ever need to know. You're always going to be learning. You just don't stop learning.
So one last question for our viewers. Any advice you would give them? And I'm sure you have a lot of them because you mentioned that you didn't really go back. You went back to school, things like that. There must have been pivoting points in your life that you want to talk about. Feel free to share.
I think for me, the biggest turning point was going back to school. As much as I thought I hated it, I genuinely love school.
Okay.
I don't know if I you can hear me complain about the work. Right. And it's like, oh man, I gotta do this and do that. But the end product, just makes up for every complaint I've had. In order to compete, you have to be marketable and you gotta be competitive and you gotta be hungry. I wasn't hungry, I was lazy. I was so lazy when I was a kid. And now I'm like everything but. I can't be lazy. I wake up, I cut my grass at 7 a.m. on Saturdays.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. That last thought was incredible. So I appreciate that, and thanks again for coming to the show. Our viewers may have questions. If you don't mind answering it for them when they do post it,
sure,
that would be wonderful. Thanks again.
You got it, man.
If you are interested in a specific career path or know someone who'd like to be interviewed, please email us at askalutely@gmail.com. That's basically absolutely without the BS.